I'm Britton Clennett and welcome to China Insight, where we discuss the latest issues affecting this rapidly changing country. Well, China is the world's largest cigarette producer and consumer. According to the World Health Organization, 1 million people in China die of tobacco-related illnesses every year, with second-hand smoke contributing to some 100,000 deaths annually. Stricter smoking bans are expected to be rolled out across the country by the end of the year. But what more can be done to butt out the bad habit? Current Affairs commentator Gregory Tsang is joining me now. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
How serious is the smoking issue in China?
Extremely serious. Now we have 350 million smokers in place and 720 million non-smokers affected by second smoke every single day. With this combination, China has 1.4 million people died every year because of smoking-related diseases. So it is an extremely serious, realistic problem in China. We have to do something about it before it's too late.
Well, right, certainly. If the World Health Organization says that more than 1 million people are dying each year, then that's a large chunk of people, right?
True,
that's quite serious.
Well, World Health Organization (WHO) advocated a movement called FCTC, Framework Conference on Tobacco Control. China signed this treaty 2005. So by the year 2006, so 5 years later, that is 2011, supposed to deliver, but it hasn't done anything about it. Therefore, their existing practices prove to be strong, effective. But for one reason or another, China has not done its job to get it done. But they are promising things to be looked into. Like Beijing started this thing 2 years ago.
Right.
Announced a more restrictive ban on smoking, and Shanghai followed suit. So there's some hopes.
And now this new smoking ban is supposed to be rolled out across the country. It's expected to be rolled out across the country, and it means that smoking will be banned in all indoor public venues, some outdoor venues as well. I think individuals will be fined 500 RMB. Companies could be fined up to 30,000 RMB. Does it go far enough?
Not really, because Shanghai is not the first city to do this. Beijing did this 2 years ago. But the announcement is a right step toward the right direction. It's supposed to be implemented next year by March. As you know, you have a good idea, you need practice, you need implementation, you need forces behind it to make it work. Therefore, it's not enough to say we have a fine. For example, in Beijing, the way to report a violator for example, in restaurants is calling this number, which is not going to work because our line is always busy. So you cannot depend on solely a plan itself. The plan is just the first step. You need funding, you need manpower, you need practice, you need review of the progress and improvement. So it's a good start, but it's a long way to go.
Right, well, I want to get stuck into some of the solutions that you might have after the following report, which looks at the anti-smoking fight in China a little further. Let's take a look.
Every Wednesday, Beijing's smoking control teams go out on inspection. The teams are made up of more than 10,000 volunteers. China has an estimated 316 million smokers. That's almost a third of the world's total. In 2014, China accounted for 44% of global tobacco consumption, more than the figure for the next 24 countries combined. This is Ganluyuan Elementary School in Beijing. Smoking is all too familiar to the children here.
我爸爸，
我爸爸，
我爸爸，还有姥爷。妈妈有时候也都有抽烟。我舅舅很长时间都抽烟，爷爷和爸爸每天都是抽烟，一直都抽，抽了没完没了。他跟朋友喝酒的时候，经常会抽很多烟。我们地上铺了一块垫子，爸爸在沙发上抽烟，我在那图书玩，然后他就抽烟熏我。
More than half of men in China smoke, and they're used to being free to light up whenever and wherever they want. But not so any longer, at least not in 18 cities, where a ban on smoking in public has now been introduced. The regulations adopted by Beijing, which came into effect on June 1st, 2015, are considered the toughest in the country. Smoking indoors completely banned. Indoor smoking spaces will no longer exist. Smoking at places of historical interest and monuments totally banned. At sports venues, hospitals and bus stops, lighting up is also banned. For many of the capital's 4 million smokers, the new regulations have meant a change of lifestyle.
我们这些吸烟的人，他不给你出口，就用我的话来说。
Blogger Lao Mao began smoking at high school. He considers the new regulations unfair for Beijing's millions of smokers.
对于我来说，我出门最害怕的就是在机场待着。一个飞机场，你哪怕你每隔500米、每隔1000米有一个吸烟室呢，因为有烟瘾的啊，就除了那些什么追时髦、叼根烟，我闹着玩的那些人，就是真正是。 离不开像我这种离不开烟瘾的人，实际上是病人。我不抽，我难受死了。
Lao Mao is a powerful advocate of special smoking areas. However, the experience of most countries has shown that an indoor smoking space offers very limited protection from second-hand smoke to non-smokers. That's why Beijing opted to go entirely indoor smoking free.
北京据说有400万人在抽烟。 这400万人都是自觉的吗？这400万人你都管得了吗？你接到了举报以后，多长时间出现场啊？你得多大成本？你得建立一个多么大的执法队伍？
To overcome the cost and personnel issues, one measure that's been adopted is to get the public involved in enforcing the ban. Beijing residents can now report violations by calling the 12320 hotline.
但是你打电话人家都完事了，你打电话也没意思啊，是不是？
Here we are at the headquarters of the hotline. 12320 is the General Healthcare and Sanitation Service line in China. Receiving tip-offs about smoking ban violations has been an additional responsibility for the staff since the regulations were introduced in 2015.
哎，您好，那个双井富力城就是这商场里边的这个厕所里边老有吸烟的。
On average, the hotline receives around 1,500 smoking tip-offs every month. Once a report is received, the information will be passed to the Beijing Health and Family Planning Commission, who will assign the task of investigating to a local inspection station.
我们辖区的写字楼我们都改过。这个楼今天是什么情况？投诉？也是投诉，扣烟投诉。
是不是在这儿抽烟了？
我在这儿剪指甲呢，这块就是经常有人。
你没有点吸烟吗？
我不抽烟。
你手没拿着？
我帮别人拿的。
帮人拿的。嗯，好。
这儿不能抽烟啊。
But often, the person who was the subject of the initial complaint is long gone by the time the team arrives. Still, other smokers can be caught instead. Violation of the regulation costs the individual a 200 yuan fine. That's just over $30, a sizable amount for someone on an average Beijing income. The onus is on the premises to enforce the smoking control regulations, but the extent to which they do so varies. One of the volunteers' jobs is to inspect buildings to assess the level of their compliance.
北京市控烟协会的进行例行检查。你看这屋里边多大烟味儿啊！啊，得注意啊，小伙子。还有你这个标识，抓紧时间就要换掉。 底下要有监督举报电话12320的就是这种的，换成这种的。
现在是这边有。
上次那个检查过你们一次，这个什么叫没收拾完？一来就没收拾完，上次就没收拾完是吗？
确实是我颠倒儿。
你看这个了吗？
没有这要是监督所来肯定罚你
这个
你就取消，你必须得取消，这不能弄这个。
还有那烟灰缸，那桌上的烟灰缸
设置烟区
必须取消啊！这属于提供烟具。
对你这都罚。
而且你这儿没有一张控烟标识。
对。
禁止吸烟的
一张都没有。
那现在控烟，我们觉得还是第一步是培养这个意识。我觉得培养公民在这个公共场合和不适合抽烟的场合，这种不抽烟的这种意识，让他先有这个意识，才能说做到第二步，就是我自觉的遵守这个。就这个东西，我觉得一步登天确实有难度，也不太现实。
刚才讲公众场所戒烟，他又说对吸烟不方便，那让你方便了，那别人还咋办呢
Hu Dayi is a renowned expert on cardiovascular disease. Through many years of treating the negative effects of smoking, he has become convinced of the urgent need for tobacco control.
一个人一辈子靠什么？你健康比什么都珍贵。如果你追求吸烟的公平，那就没有健康的公平。我们做的所有的措施都是让吸烟变得越来越不容易。
According to a report from the Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention, around 15 million new smokers have taken up the habit in China during the past 5 years.
我个人可以克制，可能北京这400万抽烟的人，可能假如说他们都能克制，你解决得了后来者吗？新人还在不停地拿起烟来，你解决不了你这个东西你没有一个，就是你没有一个明确的治本的这种思路，连思路都没有。你要彻底解决这个问题的终端是什么？你不采取措施的话，他们永远会一茬接一茬的来。
53-year-old Mr. Yuan made the decision to quit smoking in 2008. By that time, he'd lost 8 of his teeth. But he soon found that giving up smoking was easier said than done. He eventually realised he couldn't manage it on his own. So in March 2016, he went to the doctor for help. But several months later, he's still not following the doctor's instructions and is refusing to take the medication he prescribed.
当时我记得你说你想马上就戒的。
当时说想马上戒，后来是腰间盘突出以后，我现在活动不了了。
那你准备是戒烟什么时候开始呢？
我是腰间盘突出来讲来说，一旦治好了可以运动了。一运动的话我就开始戒烟。
其实我觉得哈，就我的分析来说，我觉得你更多的是用这个腰椎的手术来逃避戒烟。一定程度上，你是想把戒烟这件事情尽可能的往后拖。
Every year, over 1 million Chinese people die from smoking-related diseases. Doctors suggest that tobacco addiction can be cured through medication, but often the public have a different view.
现在好多人戒烟，戒了烟就对身体就完了。好多人单位好多人是60岁了，说快退休了不抽烟了，他说突然他自己不想抽烟了，马上身体就完了。
很多人说我吸了40年烟，我停了1年，什么都来了。实际上什么呢？是烟已经，烟草不会一天起作用，烟草一定是通过一个比较长时间，最后把身体搞坏了。实际上你这个烟你不戒，它就是借口，逐渐减量本身就借口。
身体这个我跟你说，早晚都得戒，这是绝对不可能。除非是来了以后你还是得戒，这必须。所以现在我还40多岁，我赶紧戒吧，我别等到那天不行了我再去戒。
Right, the fight against tobacco does continue indeed. Are you worried about smoking rates here?
Of course. You look at this display just minutes ago, you can see many things. For example, a lot of smokers themselves, they have so much misunderstanding, given ridiculous reasons to support the smoking habits. They mention if you quit smoking, you die young. Not true, because when you smoke for many years now, the diseases are inside you to start working out until the day it come out and kill you altogether. So if you don't quit smoking early enough, you cannot prolong your life to a certain extent. So they are not died because quit smoking. They didn't quit smoking early enough. Quit smoking has already extended the life expectancy. For example, if they die 2 years later after quit smoking, if they keep on smoking, they die 1 year later. You can see also these helpless kids in the families. The fathers smoked. What can they do? Nothing. So I think it's very important in China. We have a practice we call smoke-free families. What do we mean by that? You put a sign on the wall and to tell 3 things. Number 1, none of us smoke at our family. Second, when you come to this location, you're supposed to be smoke-free. Thirdly, we have a desire to help smokers to quit. So this would help to some extent. Another thing I would say, reporting system. You call this 32120, it's much too late. Right. What can we do? We do something different. We put a 2-dimensional code. You take a picture of it, of the smoker in a location, report immediately. So afterwards, the inspection center come over to take care of the issue by giving the restaurant owner a fine.
You mentioned several things. I want to hone in on a few of them individually and perhaps talk about awareness a little bit later. You know, in that video, as you mentioned, there were kids complaining about their dads smoking. More men in China smoke than women. Do you think there is a cultural, perhaps customary element to this, smoking after a meal or smoking as a group kind of social exercise that is perpetuating the problem?
I think the basic issue is addictive to nicotine. That's the key. So a lot of people smoke because if they don't, they feel pressure coming from inside. If they smoke, immediately the problem is solved. So it's not so much cultural tradition or historical heritage as such, because tobacco started in America by Indians. The people landed in the land, saw that, and brought back that habit to England, and then went to Southeast Asia and landed in China in the Ming Dynasty. So it's only about 400 or 500 years old. So
right, but in many parts of the developed world, smoking rates are falling, sharply declining. Now China is obviously still developing. More people have more disposable income than ever before. Is that also adding to high smoking rates?
I think people have enough money to buy cigarettes. It's just a minor issue, because most important, as I said earlier, we need a government leadership. That can only be done by the government, not by you, by me, or by NGOs, or by Dr. Hu Daiyi. He just mentioned his idea. So we need the government leadership, first of all. We need also the reaction from the general public. Smokers will realize that smoking will kill you off sooner or later.
Right, you need to change the norm.
Change the concept.
Right.
And take actions. Smokers smoke less, don't smoke in front of others, and quit smoking as early as possible.
Right.
Non-smokers, 3 things: I never get started, I refuse second smoke, help people to quit. So it's a social engineering project. It's not easy, but it's essential.
I want to talk to you. Some cigarette companies have been reporting losses. Essentra, which makes filters and cigarette packaging, says it will announce a 20% loss in 2016. Surely this shows that the measures are working to an extent.
It's their loss, it's all gain. The latest figure that I received talking to Dr. Hu Daiyi just yesterday, he mentioned that there's a slight decline of smokers in China because the old folks, they began to say, we cannot smoke any further, so quit earlier, quit faster. That's one reason. And second, the total sale of tobacco is also declining to some extent. So we need that. We need the drive coming, but we need to keep the momentum going. So we need a mobilization of the people in China to do the job together as a team.
Surely if people can't afford cigarettes, they're not going to buy them. So, to what extent are implementing higher taxes important?
Very important, because when you add tobacco taxes to each package, there are three things happening. Number one, the government would receive more revenue. For example, if you sell $1 a pack and charge 10 cents for the tax, now reach to 20 cents. You may sell, at first you sell 10 packs, now eight, okay? The 10 packs you got $1 in tax, but 8 packs you got $1.60. So by doing that, the government will have more money coming into the revenue. The second, very important, the workers, the farmers, the youngsters who are not strong financially to support this bad habit, they encouraged to quit smoking. So it's advantage in every single direction. There's nothing wrong. There are so many books, articles published abroad and in China to say just that. But it's a pity in China it's not been done forcefully. The tax portion of the total sale of the cigarette in China is still low compared with many other countries where tobacco control is a strong practice.
People are going around to make sure that no one is smoking in public venues and, so that no one is getting secondhand smoke. What about the smokers themselves? Is there a place that they can go to get help?
Good question. We need smoking cessation services. That has to be set up at hospital, nowhere else. About 10 years ago, when this program started in Beijing, Beijing University, the Friendship Hospital, Sino-Japanese Hospital, and many others, I went in as an expert to get the case started.
Right.
But they're not doing too well because for one reason or another, hospitals don't receive much money from this practice because it's not considered as a disease.
Well, China has around 316 million smokers, which is quite a sizable chunk of the population if you think about it. How does it compare to other countries?
China has the largest number of smokers on earth. Number one, then Russia and the United States, Japan, Indonesia followed. So we have now actually the male adults, 2 out of 3 smoke. And then, of course, the women is much less, about 4%. We need a strong program to be implemented in the countryside because the strongest reason for the farmers to get sick, become poverty is about smoking. Now we do not have any strong program implemented toward the villages, toward the rural areas to help.
Well, China is a huge country, 1.3 billion people. I guess it is important that you target those people in the countryside, but logistically, how do you get there?
Well, let's start first. Money. We need funding. There are 2 ways to do it. Number one, the National People's Congress can pass a resolution and say we take 1% of the tobacco revenue, earmarked for tobacco control purposes. Second, we may issue a lottery ticket, for example, to tobacco control lottery. We use some of the funding for this issue. Also, there's one idea came up with a friend of mine. I think it's a very brilliant idea. We set 11th of every month a non-smoking day, not just once a year. So we need all these things in place. We need ideas come first. We need funding, we need experts, we need implementation, we need review, we need improvement.
And I guess it's about all these ideas and different facets kind of working in tandem as well.
That's true. That's true. Because this disease is deadly. This disease is curable. This disease is preventable. That if you don't smoke at all, you're not suffering anyway. If you quit earlier, you quit in time, you're not suffering. So we call smoking is a preventable disease. It's not it's not something that's bound to happen. You have control yourself. You have to do something to save yourself, save the world, save the nation. Why not?
Okay, Gregory Tsang, you mentioned awareness. That's something I want to talk about a little bit more after a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. I've been discussing China's high smoking rates and what can be done to combat them with my guest, Gregory Tsang. He's a current affairs commentator. China Insight took to the streets to check out attitudes towards smoking here in Beijing. Let's take a look at that.
您平常有吸烟的习惯吗？
偶尔。有。
您大概吸烟有多长时间了呢？
吸烟好几年了吧。 我不吸烟。
那您身边有抽烟的人吗？
有，那很多。
身边的人有没有亲人啊、朋友啊，有没有对您吸烟这件事情有所抱怨？
像家里人就是比较反感这些抽烟的问题，然后有时候，抽烟被邻居发现了，也是尽可能说，让到比较偏僻的一些地方，然后吸烟。就毕竟现在孩子成长环境比较重要。
就是在公共场所吸烟的人有变少吗？还是没有变化？
现在公共场所吸烟的人可能不是很多了，大部分都是在集中某一个区域，比如说卫生间呀，或者是路面呀等等，是这样的。
反正我就感觉身边好多朋友吧，就是吸烟的话，他们都会约一个地方，他们去那边吸，不像以前就坐旁边吃饭就会在那儿抽烟。
如果他们想吸烟的话，只能跑到外面去吸烟，就很不方便。那您对这样的说法有什么看法？
这样本身你要对其他人的健康负责是吧？你自己不在乎健康也就算了，那你还要对其他人健康要负责。
因为那个味道确实会影响到很多人，包括二手烟的危害，我们很多人都知道。只是可能有些人比较有瘾吧，是这样的。吸烟这一块也不可能杜绝所有人都是停止吸烟，但是一定要注意别人的感受，尤其是在公共场所这块是绝对不能吸烟的。
Do you agree with those responses?
Yeah, it's interesting. For example, a lot of people know exactly the second smoke would be harmful to the health.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to stop from smoking. That's why we need programs of this kind to publicize the message. That is, say, non-smokers have the right to protect themselves. Smokers does not have the right to smoke in front of others. So you have to change the concept altogether.
How do you stop people doing that and really considering people around them?
First of all, you have the regulation saying smoking is totally banned in this location. Second, non-smokers have to stand up and say, "You stop." I do that every single day. When I went to a restaurant, if someone smokes next door or even next table, I step up and say, "You stop."
In that instance, I really feel that the onus should be on the restaurant owners to come over and say, "Stop smoking. People are eating."
That's why I suggest this idea. Okay, if you have a way to force restaurant owners to enforce the law themselves, it's more effective. Because if they don't stop those smokers, and I took a picture of that and sent it to inspection center. They're in big trouble. They have to pay 10,000 RMB. So when they have that thing in place, they have a strong reason to tell the smokers, if you smoke, you pay the fine.
Okay.
Right?
So you recognize there is a need to educate the public. Now, how do you go about it?
Educate the public, we need everything to be done. For example, I'd like to see the parents themselves. If you quit smoking, you tell the kids, it's very nice that I become a non-smoker. If I'm a non-smoker, you tell the kids why you cannot start smoking. So this would be a part of the family education, a part of the school education. The teachers also mentioned that. Teachers said a couple hours every semester to have an expert come in or doctor come in to share ideas with the kids, the students, why smoking is harmful, why you kind of get started. When you start, it's too late to quit, very difficult to quit. Then, of course, we have hospital practice to help them to quit. We have the government policy to back it up. So society, family, education, smokers, non-smokers, do it as a team.
Well, I can tell it's a topic you're very passionate about. Thank you very much for coming on the program, Gregory Tsang.
I'm glad I can be here to tell the story as is.
If you have any comments or questions, you can find us on Facebook, Weibo, and WeChat. And we'll see you next time for more stories and discussion on China out of China.